Intro. My eyes closed. I didn't see it.
SpongeBob, Johnny Bravo kicking by the beach bar. DJ making me feel like a...
So why you have the bedazzled glasses on?
No, that's actually lightsabers. They're just cool top frames. So the elephant in the room, it's Ricky Gervais, and he is not known for being funny man at the Oscars. He is known for being the creator of The Office, the British version, and which inspired all other versions.
Clearly, that's news to me. So I think he is known for the Oscars.
Ricky Gervais.
I think BJ messaged me and it was like, I can't wait to see you mispronounce more people's names in these videos.
I think he put that. I think he commented that.
That's what it is. Welcome everyone to Bikini Bottom Inquirer, our weekly podcast that took a break for a week because we were both rather unwell.
Which is why I'm now celebrating, even though it's like 2 weeks later, that we hit 500.
Yeah.
Not who knows if they'll actually watch the podcast, but they're here.
They should, considering the news that we're talking about today. Now, for everyone that's new to this channel is a joint venture between me, Chester Liddon, and Who Needs Normal, where we chat about Nickelodeon-related stuff in a news-type format with lots of funny ha-has between all of it. There's releases on Spotify as well as everything else, and then we have our kind of bi-weekly to monthly, depending on how it goes, investigations that kind of will be releasing as well.
We're working on that.
Everyone that's come along from that video, that was one of our investigations. This is the actual show.
It's not just funny British man saying words.
The
The
next investigation is nearly done, I'll say. It was a heap of fun to do, but I just was in the shower and I had this sudden epiphany come to me where I was just like, welcome back to Bikini Bottom Inquisition, where today we're burning heretics at the stake. I had this whole bit like suddenly come up and I was like, oh, I can work the British thing into that.
Nobody expects the Bikini Bottom Inquisition. How often are you mistaken for being British? How often is that a thing?
My family is actually fairly mistaken for that quite often. So I am Australian, peak country, but my brothers get mistaken for it a fair bit. My older brothers were like obsessed with British TV, like Blackadder, Black Books, all those types of British comedy stuff. So we grew up, the goodies as well, bit of Fry and Laurie, that type of stuff. We grew up in that world a lot, so a lot of our pronunciation was a lot of those types of words because we grew up watching that. I was different. I always thought I was different. I grew up watching Rugrats. Right. I would say cookie. I would say diaper. I would say like binky. I would say all those types of words, and my mom would get pissed. I'm just like, there was a consistent threat of sending me to a speech therapist if I didn't stop saying words as like Americanized words. She was like, you will not speak American in this house.
You will not speak like them, boy.
They are biscuits. And I was like, yes, mother, yes.
Fries,
so
chips.
I think I counted to the other side a bit much.
Crisps.
Crisp.
See, I think people are just confused because you're not like, oh, ship on the bar. That's horrible. You don't have the strongest British accent. You clearly have an accent. I mean, not British accent, Australian accent.
When we do the normal podcast, the Dark Tides one, people are almost like immediate, like, oh, wow, it's so funky to see Australian people try to be serious.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know you're Australian. I think I knew that from the beginning, but Americans be like confused.
I can be like, now that we're not talking to just 50 people, should we do a quick reintroduction as well? Because considering you're 50% of this channel and you weren't in that video that everyone's come from.
For the record, anyone who watched the last one, we talked about briefly like, oh, I'm going to be in this video. I told him, no, just go ahead and do it. So that's why.
Which I think you
wasn't
understood
there.
why after the video release. There was no
It-
point
yeah.
in that where I could have given you a script.
Well, even like you told me what I could do, and I was like, that might make it feel weird. And then I watched it, and I was like, yeah, that would have been a mistake. So yeah, looks good. The sun's in your face. He's ascending. This is what we get for recording earlier than normal.
Recording in the morning.
I didn't even know there was a window back there.
Oh, there's windows everywhere.
I'm in the void. But yeah, go. First of all, should I introduce myself first?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am Who Needs Normal, also known as Titus Simpkins. But Chester never. I think Chester's called me Titus one time, and I told him that feels weird because I'm not used to being addressed by my name.
Never again. I'll forever now address you by your full title,
Who?
Titus. Who needs Simpkins normal?
Yeah, exactly.
No, Titus. Who needs Simpkins?
Who? Yeah. Who needs The Simpsons?
Who needs the Simpsons?
I make documentary style videos on my YouTube channel. I've been working on one
documentaries.
forever. Yeah, sure. Yeah, actual documentary. I mean,
Documentaries.
people like yours a lot more than most things I've done. So,
It hurts me knowing how much work you put into yours stuff, and then mine was
and
like
all
a
you
week
have to
of
do
bullshit.
is say 2008, year of our Lord, and then have Carl scream, and people are like, "Oh man, I love this shit!" Yeah. No, it was a good video.
There was one person that was pissy about that. I was like,
Yeah, I saw that.
I need to put my salty comment days behind me. I need to not reply. Otherwise, I know Titus will read them
I'm gonna
out
call
loud
you
on
out,
the,
yeah.
on the thing. Just why'd you say this?
Let's look at what you said here, because inevitably we'll talk about those comments someday. But yeah, I make documentaries that I do heavy research in. I had been working on one that was going to be like 6 hours, and then after Chester did his, I was like, I think I'm gonna split some of this up and make it its own content, and maybe put it on Bikini Bottom Inquirer. So look out for that. But yeah, go over to Who Needs Normal. I talk about SpongeBob games. I talk about Rugrats games. I talk about Toy Story games. I just talk about licensed games in general, pretty much. And Hitman sometimes. Sorry.
Hitman ones. I'll say, I reckon there's like a 90% chance, because I had a look at the demographic. Basically, this is the interesting thing. So my name's Chester Liddon. I've run quite a few YouTube channels, quite a few SpongeBob-focused YouTube channels in the past. Around this space. Most of them have done better than this channel, but this one is what we're doing now. But this one's a lot of fun, and we're really enjoying it. But something that I noticed in all those old channels, I would have a lot rougher time with like the community, because the age demographic, there were like some 9 to 14-year-olds there, and then there were some 18 to 25-year-olds, but it was mostly like the younger demographic. So I would just get irritated by these comments that were just stating the fact that I just stated in the video. I was like, you're a child. I understand you're a child, but you upset me.
I still get that, and my demographic is almost wholly like 18 to 30 somethings.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because this new demographic that we've brought in, because it's a documentary, is more in that 18 to kind of 35. I reckon like 90% of them would have seen one of your videos or know about like the stuff you've done.
Probably at least one of them.
Without knowing that it was you. Because it was like, we had people on my Discord for a completely different podcast that saw this announced, and was like, oh, I watched his Piglet video.
I did that like Let's Play that I never actually finished of that prototype build of Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, and I was like the first one to reveal that or whatever. I wasn't technically the one to discover it, because I didn't think to ask the person that I talked to, hey, do you have a demo of this game? Like, it wouldn't have even crossed my mind. But I was the first one to post content about that, and then I don't remember, I put out something else, or maybe it was a comment on my original video. Someone was like, oh, hey, you should talk about this prototype build that was discovered. It was crazy. Some guy revealed it. It was so cool. It's basically telling me I should review my own content because they didn't realize I was the same person.
You're talking about like you're doing your new version of that video on Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. You get someone commenting and be like, actually, most of this I think is incorrect. If you refer back to the archives of, what was it, 2020 or whatever, 2019.
19.
2019, you will discover that actually...
Yeah, dude, it's 100% going to happen.
I'm very much in favor of doing a little bit of spreading of misinformation. So I think there's nothing wrong with it.
So, anyways,
we have news. We have things to
I bought
celebrate.
a party hat for this episode.
Yeah, I didn't.
I had to celebrate. We're famous now.
I think this is our least subscribed channel either of us have ever had. But a celebration, I brought a Roxy figurine. There you go. Roxy can just not be visible at all.
What is Roxy? I don't understand.
Roxy is like the best character from Mushoku Tensei, the worst show that you could ever possibly watch. Look, it's Roxy. You think I'm so esteemed with my bookcases behind me? That entire shelf is Mushoku Tensei. There's like 27 books in it. I have about like 10, 15.
I have a bookshelf that I'm trying to build out, and it's mostly Disney and Star Wars books because I'm a pleb.
Nice job, pleb.
I don't understand any of your anime. So, anyways, there's a lot of news.
There's a lot
that
of
I keep
juice.
messaging you on Discord, and I'm like, oh, this thing is leaked. We should talk about it. Oh, something else has happened.
No, I get these half-formed, just like, there's been a little something.
Yeah.
I'll talk
'Cause
about
it's like
it on the podcast.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
what do you mean?
There's a little, because it's like I don't want him to know. No, but I ended up telling him. So, first things first. And I'm not going to pull this up, so I'm probably just going to completely misspeak. I was perusing Twitter earlier, couple weeks ago, I guess it started, because it's been a while since we recorded.
Yeah.
And I don't know, how familiar are you with the Sonic franchise, Chester?
Sonic franchise, I have played Mania, loved Mania. I thought Mania was really good, and I've played Sonic Generations. Loved Sonic Generations. Thought it was really good. As a kid, I played a tiny bit of Sonic Unleashed.
I like Generations. I want to play Mania. It looks good. Sonic Adventure. Nope.
And I think I did play like the first one of these racing games that maybe came out on like Wii U or something like that, or like an early one, like the Transformer one. I think I played.
Yeah, Transformed All Stars. So yeah, I've dabbled. I really got into Sonic for like a month, where I was like, oh, I'm gonna play all these Sonic games, and I quickly realized as I went through them, Adventure and Adventure 2, namely being the cause, or the culprit rather. I don't like Sonic. I like the idea of Sonic games. I do not like playing Sonic games.
For me, the furry community and the Sonic community are far too close for me to ever.
So true.
For me to ever, it's just, there are so many reaching moments. If you think Sonic is cool, I think you might be a furry. If you think Shadow is cool, you are most definitely a furry.
But to our good friend Riders DX, you don't count. Unless you're a furry.
Unless you're a furry. Cool. What's your character? Your display character? Is that
he's a robot. He's not a furry. He's a robot duck.
That is correct. That is correct.
That wears a Taylor Swift wig.
But if you liked the new Sonic game, that open world one, you are a furry.
I have not partaken. I've thought about grabbing Generations, Cross Sonic, whatever or Cross Shadow on Switch 2 yet, but I have not.
I can say that as well. Just because I bought Generations on PC to play on stream, but then that version came out. I was like, well, I'm not going to play the old version, so I just didn't play it at all.
Well, now we have a brand new Sonic game that we're both going to have to play on stream together, because Sonic Racing Cross Worlds was announced while ago. I don't remember. It might have been revealed at the Game Awards. I can't recall. And as I was perusing Twitter, I started to see people tweeting about some weird leaks. Like at first it was just a statement. No evidence whatsoever. This guy just apparently had a track record and he was like, SpongeBob SquarePants is going to be in Sonic Racing Transformed. And I sent these screenshots because as slowly over the course of the week, more started, like at first they were they started showing crop screenshots where it was like you could tell it was SpongeBob, but you couldn't quite tell. A lot of people in our community, a lot of people in our community,
Get out the ruler. Get that. Is that SpongeBob's head?
How many holes?
How many holes? No, it's not. That's not SpongeBob. That's Mr. Cheez-It.
Well, a lot of people in our community that I follow were saying, "Oh, no, this is just Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4." Like genuinely, that they all assumed it was Nickelodeon Kart Racers. I don't know if they had the context of the leak or if they were just refusing to believe the leak because it sounds outrageous. The idea that SpongeBob is going to be in a Sonic racing game. Why? And the only connection I can think is, Paramount does the movies and the Knuckles TV show and all that. So maybe there's some kind of partnership there. I don't know. But then there's also other characters that are coming that aren't related to Paramount. Because today at this Summer Games Fest presentation that I have on in the background, I haven't really been paying close attention, but they revealed a trailer that was showing crossover characters, but it wasn't SpongeBob. So SpongeBob is still not officially confirmed, but we're staring right at him. Today they revealed Hatsune Miku and I think Joker from... hold on.
Joker from Batman? Really?
No, I think from...
Persona 5?
That's what I was gonna say. I could be mistaken. Hold on. I was only half watching Sonic Racing.
What?
Cross Worlds Joker. I swear if it's Joker from Batman, I would. Persona 5, Joker from Persona 5. Yep, I was right.
Well, I guess that makes sense considering it's Sega.
So now you have even more reason because you're the Persona guy here. How do you feel about SpongeBob and Joker from Persona 5 being in the Sonic racing game?
Do you ever sometimes just think about that All-Star? It was it Sony All-Stars, PlayStation All-Stars?
Yeah, something like that. Which was weird when Nick did All-Stars Brawl because it was the same.
It had fucking Kratos beating up
Sackboy
Ratchet and Clank and Sackboy, and I was like, this is terrible. Now everything
I never
is
tried
that.
it. Yeah.
Anyway, but no, it's definitely interesting. The SpongeBob one is really quite interesting. Have you, I
think Patrick's in it as well. And there's a whole racetrack of Bikini Bottom.
That's a bit different. I do like that. So I've been out of the scene. I played the first Nickelodeon Kart Racers, and I thought it was pretty shoddy.
I got it when it was on sale for $1, and I didn't even. I still thought it was a mistake.
I paid full price for it. They didn't give me that one as a review copy. Really interesting. I wonder why.
That was earlier on. I don't know.
True. I haven't played any of the ones since. Are we actually going to get a third one? Did it do well enough?
They did a third one already.
Fourth one. Are they doing a fourth one then?
Well, they've done 3, but because they're doing this, I would be. Well, actually, I guess that sort of gets into another thing that got announced today. Maybe, perhaps.
Which is the most out of left field.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially because what I was expecting to be there. So, first of all, I guess that I need to cover this real quick because it adds context to what my story. The Korean ratings board, I think, rated it put up the leaked SpongeBob game we discussed before. Well, it was
Yes.
called at the time, like in the files that we looked at, it was called like Splash of the Titans.
Splash of the Titans. That's it. Yeah.
And then today I saw an article saying that it's been officially rated as Titans of the Tide, like you said. Personally, I feel
that is in South Korea though, so it could have a slightly different title there.
possible, yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Is that feels like a very weak title compared to Splash of the Titans. Splash of the Titans feels like a much more stronger title, and it's been like weirdly long since they've like there was stuff in that file that showed like their plan for the reveal and everything. Like I'm wondering if the game went through major changes since that file leaked. I'm not positive, but
I think we discussed this last time when we spoke about this. I think personally, Nickelodeon's might not be Nickelodeon, but THQ Nordic are just they've learned a lot from the previous mistake, which was they announced Cosmic Shake, and then like 2 years went by, or a full year went by before we got anything more on it. I think they're just going to do like a media blitz and be like, the game's coming out in a month. So I reckon if they were doing the normal video game routine of when that leak came out would be the time that they would do the actual first trailer. Now we'd be getting the rating, and in a month or two we'd be getting like the game. If there was, if it was following the normal kind of game release schedule.
Well, the files that I looked at looked very fleshed out, very final, like screenshots that looked very far along. So that's true. I find, and like you said, maybe it's just a translation thing. Maybe because like in certain regions, they just call games different things. Like in my Traveler's Tales video, I talked about how Sonic 3D Blast was called 3D Blast in the US, but everywhere else it was called Sonic 3D something Flickies, like Flickies Island or something like that. But for some reason in the US it was called 3D Blast. And I said, I guess we don't like the word flicky over here.
No, it's inappropriate in America.
Yeah.
Everywhere else it's fine. I will say that there is the slight thing of like the title is nearly identical to a title of a SpongeBob episode from like 2014, which was Clash of the Titans.
Right. And that is also
it's a bit weird.
And then that also goes back to Battle for Bikini Bottom. You know, it came out back in the day, and then years later they did an episode titled Battle of Bikini Bottom, which kind of confused some people. I remember when the Game Grumps played Battle for Bikini Bottom for like an episode or two and absolutely fucking hated it. Their thumbnail included the title card for Battle of Bikini Bottom, and I was always, as a hardcore little child fan, like, well, that's not Battle for Bikini Bottom, you're confused, that's Battle of Bikini Bottom.
As a hardcore SpongeBob atheist, I personally am horrified by this.
But so yeah, that's my other question is like, did they feel like it was too close to something else? Is something like that too close to like a copyright that they're like, oh, actually we got to change this?
Here's the big question though. What's it been rated?
I did not see actually.
Let me pull it up for us.
And I don't know what the translation of Korean to
Titans of the Tide, ages 12 and up, THQ Nordic, all platforms, source genre, PC/online games.
Online. What?
Action.
The online mode in Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated was not great, so I hope it's better.
I've actually yet to really play it. We should do that for a stream. Minor violence. There are explosions and minor bodily harm in the game. Dismemberment. Ooh. Therefore, in accordance with Article 21 on the promotion of the game industry and Article 7, Paragraph 2 of the content displayed, we got some whoosh in the game. We got some meh in the game. We got some zzz in the game. And we got some meh in the game. And we got some.
We have some. Fuck.
I got some fuck. And then we got 2 pennies. And we got a Wario bag of money.
I know a place. Sorry. I won't sing the song, but I thought of Penny and Napkin and Chip. Yeah.
Wario goes in an elevator and fucking dies.
Oh my god. Why?
Plankton farts and then dies. Do you know that bit?
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, nothing surprising here. That syringe is a bit disconcerting right there.
I wonder if they do that for, like Mario having, like, eating a mushroom to get, like, bigger, whether they would count that as, like, it's like a healing thing.
I mean, I'm sure it's more strict there, probably. I don't know.
12 and up for a SpongeBob game. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Well, there's ghosts. They literally. Oh wait, is that? Well, no, we know that. That was in the review. They're literally dead.
Nickelodeon, their lawyers.
Don't come after me. You already revealed that.
All of this is what's going to happen to us if Nickelodeon finds us.
Exactly. It's interesting that it only lists the platform as PC. I don't know.
They must have just sent them a PC code of, like, the game, like the content to have a look at.
Something
I think
like
they look at the first hour of the game or something like that, or I guess it changes for different countries. In Australia, it's like the first 45 minutes or something.
So it seems like we're
in that.
Yeah. It seems like we're probably okay, so that's what I was gonna bring up, is that so this came out and I was like, okay, we're probably gonna see it tonight at the Summer Games Fest stream. And I was watching and I was like, this is a snooze fest. I freaking hate Jeff Keighley shows. I don't know why I do this to myself every year.
Jeff Keighley.
It's so boring and corporate and all the games look the same. I don't like it.
I hate it.
And then what's the name of Sandy's voice actress?
Barbara Streisand.
No, that don't gaslight me like that. Sandy Cheeks.
Samantha Cheeks.
Voice. Sandra Cheeks.
Sandra. It's like with the monkey.
Carolyn. I knew it was Carolyn. Carolyn Lawrence
like
appeared on
chimps
stage.
Call her. It's the chimps call her. Sandra. Very good job, Sandra.
I don't. It's been so long since I've watched that episode.
Sorry, yep.
And then they referenced that episode in that cooking game for some reason. Have you ever played SpongeBob Krusty Cook-Off?
The iOS game?
It's on iOS. I play it on. I paid full price on Switch because I'm a freaking idiot. But
Hello there. Oh, there she is. Hold on. Sorry. Let me pull up. What was Lego Voyages? Hold on.
That was a sequel to that Lego Journey game back in the day that was like very puzzly and atmospheric. I don't know if you ever played that one.
No.
It looked interesting. But anyways, so Carolyn Lawrence appeared on screen or on stage, and I was like, oh, here we go. Sandy's here. I don't know why she's here, but I figured.
Couldn't get Tom Kenny.
Like, obviously they're about to reveal the SpongeBob game because she's here. And then lo and behold, she did not reveal a SpongeBob game in a manner of, I mean, in the way that I assumed, because all this SpongeBob stuff has been leaking out of every crevice of THQ Nordic and Nickelodeon Studios. And she's like, oh, it's a secret. I can't say much more, blah, 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 blah. And then she goes on to reveal Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it opens with Timmy Turner playing Dungeon Master with you really only hear Timmy Turner, and he said this is supposed to be him. This wizard is supposed to be Timmy Turner.
Question.
Yes.
Is Sandra, does she voice Timmy? Is that why she introduced this?
It sounded like what's her name?
It sounds like the normal person, but I was just checking because, like, I was wondering if that's why they were there.
I don't know. She had nothing to do. I mean, maybe she'll be in this game. I guess she was just the only Nickelodeon character around.
Next
Yes.
question. These characters here, when I first thought this, obviously this isn't Cosmo and Wanda type of thing. They're the wrong colors. And that's not proof for anything.
The way he narrates it, I assume it's supposed to be representations of other Nickelodeon
and
mascots.
That can't be SpongeBob because SpongeBob's standing over here.
Right.
SpongeBob's shown separately. Who do we think these guys are?
That's what I wanted a theory about this. So basically, this is like it's like the Nicktoons characters get together and play D&D, but the gameplay itself looks
apparently it's an RPG.
Mid, I don't know. Yeah, we'll get to that part in a minute, but let's theorize about this.
Have you played Minecraft Dungeons?
Yes, I haven't played a ton since they've updated it and made it a much more fleshed out game, but
it is.
I played it at launch.
I played it at launch, was very disappointed, replayed it like 6 months ago with my wife, and were very impressed. I think it's going to be something a little bit more like that. I think it's going to be more of like a simple loot-based thing. That's how they'll work costumes and stuff in, like the different designs these characters get. It's like, oh, you found the Speedster helmet. This gives you plus 10% movement speed type of thing. That's what I think, because I saw there was considered an RPG, which is interesting. But obviously,
it's clearly something like that.
Character on the right has to be Danny Phantom, right?
On the right, okay.
Great.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to think of who else it could even possibly. I mean, if the colors are representative of who they are, then.
Or do we think it's like it's going to be like a Plankton type thing? Like it'll be a like, oh, he's this cool tall character. It's actually just Plankton type thing.
I would hope it, like in my heart, I would wish it to be Danny Phantom, but I feel like the horns give a little bit of Plankton now that you say that. Although he has this character has two eyes. I feel like maybe if it was supposed to be Plankton, they might have him have one little like cross section,
because it's a Nicktoons game. And when we talk about Nicktoons, what does actually Nicktoons, because you actually grew up with these channels, what does Nicktoons represent? Because to me, that's Nicktoons Unite. That's that crew.
Right. I think it represents different things to different people, because, I mean, a lot of people, it's the 90s stuff. It's like Rocco and Angry Beavers and Rugrats. And maybe that's Tommy Pickles right there.
That's interesting, actually, though. That could be one of the Beavers, or it could also be like Hey Arnold or something like that, because that's maybe the right color as well.
Maybe that's Chucky.
That's a good point.
I mean, the glasses.
I think I would agree.
It kind of got the eyes for fuzzy thing going on all over him,
and obviously they're doing the it's the kind of the opposite of the characters, because you got the cool magician,
right? And then like, he's a wizard, and he talks about him being an incredibly handsome wizard or whatever. So it's like, that is, and then, so my prediction is that's Chucky personally.
All right, so Chucky,
as far as the guy
Timmy
on the right, I feel like Danny Phantom makes sense, but there's very little indication of who that could be, I feel like.
I reckon, it's 50-50. I think it's either Plankton or Danny Phantom. Do we want to lay down bets?
I have.
You gotta throw out those lightsaber glasses cover things. If that's
I will.
If that's Plankton.
I will delete my YouTube channel. No.
I'll delete your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I have. I can't even like comment on stuff under Bikini Bottom Inquirer. So I can't delete you. I think I can heart stuff. I think that's about it. I don't. We'll circle back around. I'll come up with a bet for this.
And I saw some people think that this might be Korra. Korra is not Nicktoons. You bastards.
Well,
Korra's not Nicktoons.
Yes and no. I think we just discussed. We just kind of briefly went like, what does that represent to you? What is that like for a lot of people, they'd say Nicktoons, but you're right. Avatar's not really a Nicktoon exactly. It didn't, as far as I know, it didn't air on Nicktoons. It aired on Nickelodeon. But I feel like it's gotten to a point where it's interchangeable.
I think popularity-wise, though, if they were going to do if they were going to have one of the avatars in here, they would have Aang. Like, I love Korra. I love the show. I think they would probably do.
I don't think that's Aang either. Or not Korra either. Maybe that's Sandy. I don't know.
Wait. Maybe we're both wrong. Could that be Zim?
Ooh, that actually makes
because he thinks he's so cool and all that.
Sense.
Could that be
I
Zim?
could see that being Zim, perhaps, mayhaps. And I also thought the guy on the side there. My first thought was it's Carl, but I don't know.
Anyway, let's move on to some more of the actual. So yeah, game, like, we've got all this nothing PNG art, and then we've got some actual like gameplay as well.
We should quickly mention the reason, like, this is Game Mill doing this. So I was getting all excited. I was like, "Oh, Nicktoons D&D," and then it shows Game Mill level animations.
Look at this,
in my opinion.
Look at this shit.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is the type of thing Activision was doing, all right? And we were throwing picket signs around and we were beating up people in the streets, okay? Well, at least I was. Look at this. Just add a little bit of feathering or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is early footage. We don't know. I don't remember. Did they put a date on the... Well, we'll talk about it in a minute.
2025, I think.
So...
Lots of locations. This has to be a Minecraft Dungeons ripoff, right? Look at this. Look at the
Minecraft.
over here.
I mean, like, we're like, Minecraft Dungeons is a Diablo ripoff. So I mean, realistically, they're all ripping off Diablo, and I don't know what Diablo's ripped off in the past. I don't know if the Diablo was the first of its kind, but it does look like that kind of game. Like, I think Hades was also similar. That style of game.
That's a roguelike, though. I don't think this will be a roguelike.
Right. Probably not. But like, just in the combat
too.
Itself.
Yeah. I definitely think this is probably early. Like, there's some just mishmashing of like art styles here. So I think this is probably early. And then I think we have some like ability stuff here. Like,
I mean, they really only show SpongeBob as far as like the gameplay, which is funny because, you know, it very much uses Timmy, and then it's like, oh, now let's show all this SpongeBob stuff, even though Timmy's been narrating the whole time. And like, it's very like heavily reliant on the Fairly Odd Parents style of stuff there. Very heavily reliant on Dunces and Dragons, which is perhaps a special we should do an episode on, a video.
Absolutely. I've been wanting to do an investigation on it too. I think
that's what I meant, but that's what I meant as an investigation. But we could also do a podcast about that one as well.
I'd love to chat about that with you. So firstly, console-wise, no Switch 2?
Shocker.
What?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, they could like be like, oh, realistically, I seriously doubt Game Mill was given a dev kit for the Switch 2 because it's Game Mill.
What do you mean? This is Game Mill we're talking about.
The word was that, and historically, Nintendo has always been quite stingy with who they give out dev kits. Very selective during launch time periods. Like on the GameCube, they were like, not to bring it, I'm always bringing it back to Big Sky Interactive because that's what I'm in currently as we're like recording all these episodes. Is it's like behind the scenes, I'm just constantly reading about this company. I have a PhD in Big Sky Interactive. I was going over some information. The GameCube version of that game was started very late in production. The GameCube hadn't even launched until November 2001. They were already well into production before that. They had to bring in a new employee to basically port over the entire game to GameCube. Because they were not given, like, companies were not given dev kits before launch. They had to wait until the release of the console if they wanted to get a dev kit.
Right.
So I think it's probably a similar situation, because there have been rumors about, you know, only select companies were given dev kits, and that seems to be the case, because even though there's a good amount of third-party games at launch, it's still, like, all things considered, pretty limited. Like, you're not seeing a lot of shovelware or anything like that. You're not seeing a hentai game 105 on the eShop on Nintendo Switch 2.
Not yet. It'll happen.
Um,
Have faith. Have faith.
Overall, I don't know how to feel about this. That's what I told you in Discord. Is like, well, this is not what I expected. I don't know how to feel. Chester's dying.
Sorry. It's poisoned me. When is fall in America? When is that reach?
That's the thing, is they always say these seasons, it's very nebulous. Officially, I believe it starts in September and ends in December, I think.
November. Art season's 3 months.
Let me look up. When is fall? So fall begins. Yeah, no, I was right. So in America, fall begins on September 22nd, officially, and ends on December 21st. So technically, like, you know, Christmas is like this big winter thing, but realistically, it's 4 days after fall ends here.
Oh, yeah, and what's the fucking Fahrenheit?
Metric system, Fahrenheit.
Inches per mile. I think your seasons don't start at the start of the month.
No,
They
it has something to do with, like, the equator or
Gregorian
something.
calendar.
I don't know.
Okay, good. Very good.
Yeah.
At some stage towards
So
the end of the year.
I
this
didn't
game
think
might
about the fact
release.
that seasons would be different other places. So yeah. Realistically, it could be anywhere from September to December. I would expect September, October-ish, if I were to guess.
Okay. I am personally very excited. Personally,
Okay.
I think honestly, I am, until I see a trailer, I'm more excited about this than the new SpongeBob game.
Well, I am and I'm not. So it's like, I love the idea. And we haven't really had like we've had the racing and the brawl, but we haven't had like if there's a story elements to this, like,
It needs to have story elements, I agree.
yeah.
Needs to have online. You and me need to be able to play it.
I think it would.
It ought to be this rigmarole of like streaming it to each other because it's a couch co-op game only type of thing. Needs to have online. Needs to have a story. Right? Needs to have all the original voice actors, which I think they're going for. If they've already shown that they're getting the voice actor for Timmy, yeah, that's a bigger thing than they do in most game meal stuff. Which is what I'm really excited about. There just needs to be decent enough loot progression in it, and I think it's enjoyable. But for me, it's just like, we have not gotten something like this since Globs of Doom.
Right. Well, that's the thing,
since we were children.
It, based on what we know, and we know very little, it feels like the first like return of a Nicktoons crossover in more than just kart racing and punching each other.
Well, also you got to think this is Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny.
That's true. Because the other was
Globs
for
of Doom.
Nickelodeon and SpongeBob.
Yeah. Well, Globs of Doom was SpongeBob and Nicktoons or whatever.
Yep.
It was SpongeBob first. This is the first time they've done it without it just being SpongeBob. I'm making a whole body video about the fact that, like, Nickelodeon, their highest achievement of all time was because of Rugrats, and they don't give a fuck about Rugrats now. Type of thing.
Yeah.
So they don't. But like now they're actually doing stuff like this. So this to me communicates a lot more than just Oh, awesome! Another SpongeBob game. Type of thing.
Right. I first I first sent you a message and then I ended up deleting it because I was like, oh, I don't know if this is as big as I think it is or not. Because I was like, holy frick, we have a huge, massive thing to talk about. And then I was like, I saw the gameplay and I was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it could be good.
Will it release on iOS?
That's the thing is it looks
like
a bit like a mobile game. I'm interested. I mean, obviously, there's a very big Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing going on here. They're relying on the Dunces and Dragons elements of SpongeBob. They're relying on Fairly Odd Parents, which has like magic and stuff.
And this power up here is the movie as well.
Oh, is it?
Okay, yeah, it's him doing the spinning.
Yeah, because he says, because he says something about being a goofy goober or whatever when he does that attack. It doesn't have the audio, but
can I just say, what if this is like a Skylanders type thing?
I wish. I think that industry is dead, but yeah.
Nickelodeon is always about a decade behind. So
it's also Game Mill, and it's like, do they really want to like build a whole bunch of plastic for people? I don't know.
No, they would absolutely do cards, wouldn't they?
Oh, you got the
That's fair.
SpongeBob card.
Yeah.
Put it down on your Switch.
Although if
Yeah.
it's PC, then they can't do that. So
Well, they could do it. They could on. What do you mean they couldn't do that on PC?
because you need like the little platformy thing to like scan it onto.
Right. Well, I mean, Disney Infinity and Skylanders were all on PC. You just
Do
plug
they
it
have
in.
did they sell the thing? There's no way Game Mill is going to make a separate
I
attraction thing.
think you could do both. I think you could buy them virtually and
Oh yeah,
with a thing. I'm not positive.
you might be able to connect it to like your Steam or Epic Store account or something.
I
don't think-
remember.
it's becoming less and less of a reality, but it would be kind
Yeah.
of cool.
I remember there were virtual versions of Disney Infinity figures, but yeah, I don't expect that, unfortunately. Although it would be cool. Or like there's a Disney mobile game called Mirrorverse that like I don't know how popular it really became, but they did a whole toy line with McFarlane toys that weren't like, you didn't use the toys for the game. They were just these high quality figures that you put on your shelf that were all inspired by like they took Disney characters and put them in a fantasy setting like this and made them like redesign them and made them look all cool. And I have the Buzz Lightyear one on my shelf in my living room.
Dear. Oh no. Oh dear. It's been up for an hour. It's had less than 1,000 views.
Yeah, shocker.
Oh.
Well, there's different people uploading it. I would be
dear.
curious to see what IGN's
8,000
version.
on IGN.
Okay, yeah. Listen, we are in. That's the other thing is this is truly quite niche. I mean, Nicktoons has become a nostalgia play niche thing, and you and I, we do this podcast that's Nicktoons and Nickelodeon themed, but realistically, the people who watch us are the diehards.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason that we've only seen SpongeBob games from THQ Nordic.
Yeah.
They
also think-
push the big
yeah.
ones.
Did you notice the So it's also being worked on by Petite Fabric, which apparently have been
Petite
credited
Fabric.
with Miraculous, Paris Under Siege, Looney Tunes, Wacky World of Sports, DreamWorks All Stars Kart Racing, DreamWorks Trolls, Nickelodeon Kart Races 3, Slime Speedway, Cuckoo's Lost Pets.
So it sounds like they probably work with Game Mill a lot. And that's the other thing is I was gonna say I don't hate Game Mill. They but their games are very basic.
My biggest critique of them has always been the voice acting stuff. So now they're
Yeah.
getting through that.
Well, they did the Goosebumps games. I don't know if you're much of a Goosebumpser, but
Wasn't much of a thing in Australia, but I know about the games, yeah.
Well, it's funny actually. The biggest Goosebumps YouTuber is Australian. That's where he's from. He has a huge collection. That's his thing. Is he's like got this massive freaking collection and goes all over the state and collects all this crap. But they did a couple of Goosebumps games. One of them was like a horror game that looked like those games that were popular for a while, where like Grandma or SpongeBob or whatever would chase you around a house and you'd have to hide. That was kind of a genre for a while. They did that with Goosebumps characters, and then a point and click game that was very. The art reminds me of this, I guess.
Yeah,
but it was really good. I really liked that game. So that was way back on like 3DS and PS4.
It's also being made by Fair Play Labs that made the All-Star Brawl games, made Scribblenauts Showdown, and also Speedrunners 2, King of Speed.
Never heard of that.
That's interesting. Yeah. Predator VR.
Predator VR.
That's
like,
me when I look through enter Minecraft YouTuber's eyes.
Like Predator the character? Like the franchise? Yeah. I didn't even realize there was a Predator VR game. Hold on. Predator. They just did an Alien VR game. Predator VR.
Oh, hell yeah.
VR on Steam. That's probably why it's only on Steam. That's why I've never heard of it.
Oh,
interesting.
Oh dear, that looks like Xbox 360 graphics. Oh dear.
Probably. That's the interesting thing. See, all these tiny game studios that work on these licensed games now. They always you'll always look at their discography, I guess. I don't know, but their resume, and it's always like there's a company that you had me look into that's like it's mostly Bratz games, and then like a couple of other sprinklings in there.
Some other
gives me that energy.
Details. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not so sold on that one yet. I'm
not sold just because I'm jaded. I don't expect much. I hope I'm surprised. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it. I mean, like I just said, I bought the SpongeBob cook-off game on Switch at like $30 or something like that, which you can play for free on your phone. So
yeah, all the savings you made from buying the kart racer game on sale was immediately disqualified by buying that SpongeBob game. I honestly, I'm just taking this as a sign that starting this channel was a good idea, because now for the first time in a decade we have so much fucking Nickelodeon content.
3 big news stories. SpongeBob's coming to Sonic.
I spent
SpongeBob games coming.
I spent like 5 years running a YouTube channel about SpongeBob stuff, where all I had to talk about was tiny little bits of information of like, oh, THQ's been purchased by a company called Nordic and reformed to THQ Nordic. Maybe we might get something. 3 years later, we might get something. And
then all these other people come out of the woodwork and like, oh, SpongeBob, rehydrated. Whoa.
Yeah.
And then some freaking idiot comes out and is like, hey, you're wrong about Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. You should watch my video.
Never forgive him for that. No.
Yeah,
I like it when people backsass me.
I don't like it when people incite the riots against me.
But I like when people do a bit of spreading of misinformation.
So yeah,
I think that's everything. Yeah, fantastic.
It's interesting to see. You and I kind of talk behind the scenes about just how much Nickelodeon seems to be pushing back into games. Like we have so much going on all of a sudden, even though it's like they're being done by different companies. It's like they're basically putting SpongeBob in weird and wacky places, I guess.
That's the thing. Simazagami, so this is the person I talked about in the previous investigation. They were CEO of Nickelodeon from 2006 to 2018. so did not understand video game stuff at all. We saw next to no video games.
And that's interesting because
because
right around that point was where they really started to do stuff again.
So once Brian Robbins came on, that's when we started getting the racing games. And those were the really pushed out of the gate. Those were made in like 6 months, 9 months type of things. They didn't even have the voice actors. I think he's come in and been like, we're doing video games. Video games is the biggest industry in the world. And we're hemorrhaging viewership because of like streaming and all that stuff. We need to be doing like some video game stuff. And so I think what we're seeing is with all these releases now, there was a big investment of probably just millions of dollars investments back in 2018, 2019, then delayed over COVID. Now we're seeing this stuff coming to fruition. That's why we're getting all this stuff now.
And it's interesting too, because it's like I talked to you about, I mentioned to you on Discord about how like we've been getting like some weird crossovers, because I talked about how the Sonic Racing thing, you probably have not played this, but what's it called? Power Wash Simulator did SpongeBob DLC. I've played it in VR, so I've cleaned Bikini Bottom in VR, and it's weird. It's fun.
And the Tony Hawk game.
There's the Tony Hawk game coming up where you're skating in through Bikini Bottom, which I'm pretty hyped for that. That's coming out around my birthday.
It feels like every big gaming event, there is at least one thing connected to SpongeBob now. Whether it's a DLC thing or a costume thing or something like that.
Right. Well, they put him in Fortnite. They didn't make him a skin, obviously, because it's like, how do you make SpongeBob a Fortnite skin and give him a gun?
They did Peter Griffin. Come on.
They did Bikini Bottom prop hunt in Fortnite as like a special mode or whatever. They did, I think they did stuff in Fall Guys. There was a
they did a official Minecraft event, whereas Bikini Bottom skin.
They did a whole smash up pack for Minecraft. They did. There's another VR roller coaster game where it's just like you're riding roller coasters, but they did a whole SpongeBob pack with a bunch of different SpongeBob roller coasters that involve like you go through like the Flying Dutchman's Graveyard and Bikini Bottom, and all the models look like the Battle for Bikini Bottom rehydrated models. So it's it feels like being in rehydrated in VR. It's interesting, and who knows what's next? SpongeBob in Doom? ?
SpongeBob's got the spice. Oh my god!
SpongeBob in GTA 6?
Give the modders like 10 days, something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already done.
Well, I mean, it's not coming to PC right away, but yeah.
Oh, is it not?
It's not.
Wow.
I don't know when. They haven't said.
This is coming from someone who's never played a GTA game. Wow, that's crazy. I care so much. I'm out here. I played the real games. I played Nicktoons. The Dice of Destiny, not the Dial of Destiny. We're not doing Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I knew it sounded familiar. I was like, "What? Why does that sound familiar?" That's why.
But yeah, so that's kind of everything for this. Thank you so much for bringing these topics. That is so cool. I'm really interested.
We have a whole lot more on this channel. I mean, we need to finally stream first of all, especially now that people might watch.
Yeah, we need to do the streaming. We will do some stream stuff. I'll put some stuff in the posts channel to kind of do some votes on that, and we'll kind of whittle it down. We'll do it like a
you already did. You did put out a poll, and
yeah, but I don't want to play that game.
Yeah, but you do.
That game's shit.
Well, you put it on the list, and you put it as cringe, and cringe won out the day. So
it did 26 votes. Okay, so
we're gonna have to do
play.
We're gonna have to do it eventually. It doesn't have to be the first game we play.
No, we can play that one first. It's also like a 5-hour long game, so we can do it in like one session. Then we will at some stage review Nickelodeon specials and seasons and episodes if they just stopped announcing.
Yeah, that's the thing is we keep like planning. We're like, okay, we're gonna talk about All Grown Up. Okay, we're gonna talk about we're gonna rank SpongeBob episodes. We're gonna do this or that, and then come the day of, it's like, oh, actually, we really need to talk about this Jimmy Neutron revival that might be happening, or this SpongeBob game thing that's happening, or that I discovered this weird Nicktoons movie that never happened. Like, there's a. I remember when we started this.
Check out the playlist. Check out the playlist.
Exactly.
There's a lot of good stuff here.
I remember when we sat down to talk about this, you were like, you were like, I don't know, like, if we can't come up with 10 episode ideas, we shouldn't do it. And we came up with a whole big long list, and we've barely even touched that list. So
I was thinking about that like last week or something. I was like, there's some good stuff on there.
Yep.
We'll never get to it. That's right.
We're gonna have many seasons, you guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
How many episodes? What episode is this? Episode 8 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
This will be episode 8. We should do the normal Nickelodeon like 24 episode seasons.
Sure.
We gotta do what will we do for our finale? Will probably be around Christmas time.
I fly out there and punch you in the face.
We're doing a tier list of our favorite moments of Chester insulting Who Needs Normal because he can't come up with a funny bit himself.
We play SpongeBob Flash games for Christmas. That's what I tried to do last year, and I forgot to.
We play the old Nickelodeon website games.
Yes,
that's slapping the shit out of Patrick.
I saw that in your video, and I couldn't make that. There's some that I can't make work anymore. It's kind of weird, but
yeah. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
I watched Recess, no stress, and then the kids next door always playing, messing with each other in the back tree house, chilling and possibly fighting evil, jerking off to Kim and having fun again with my cartoon friends. No classmates anyway, to hell with them, cause I was hanging with who I thought was cool. All the